Welcome back to the channel. I'm sure that you've heard by now that there was the first rollout of UFO disclosure today by the Department of War per President Trump's executive order. So we're going to take a look at some of what we have. So here we can see a lot of the different videos that they have taken of UAP. We'll just go through those for a moment and look at some different pictures, which is, radar video. So it's not really great video. It's kind of grainy, but we're going to get to some better pictures in a minute. I just want to let you see what this looks like first. Okay. So then we have the official statement from Donald Trump on Truth Social that says, based on tremendous interest that's been shown, I will be directing the Secretary of War and other relevant departments and agencies to begin the process of identifying and releasing government files related to alien and extraterrestrial life, unidentified aerial phenomenon known as UAP, and unidentified flying objects known as UFOs, and any and all other information connected to these highly complex but extremely interesting and important matters. God bless America. So then this is the statement put out by Pete Hegseth that in response to Donald Trump's directive for transparency on the U.S. government information regarding UAP, the Department of War, with support from the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, which is ODNI, Tulsi Gabbard, is overseeing government-wide efforts to expeditiously find, review, identify, declassify, and publicly release unresolved UAP-related records and historical documents in the federal government's possession. Now, I want you to keep in mind that key word, unresolved, because that is a whole lot of what we see here in these files. When you click on these files, let's see, this one is from June 1947 and July 1968. The records include high-profile incident accounts, photographic evidence from sites like Oak Ridge, Tennessee, and technical proposals regarding potential propulsion systems. Additional topics include convention programs, researcher accounts, and extensive media coverage from that period. This file is partially posted on the FBI vault, with more redactions and some pages missing. Included here is the complete case file with several newly declassified pages and other minor redactions. Now we're going to look at that. And as you can see, that page is blank. This is talking about the flying saucers, different reports that have been made seeing the flying saucers. And a lot of this has Hoover written all over it. And that is very important to note because my father told me often throughout my childhood to remember Hoover because he's a very important piece of this UFO puzzle. So I'm just kind of quickly scrolling through here. This is from Miami, Florida in 1967. This is December 26, 1951 and 52 sightings. So I'm just kind of scrolling through a little quickly here. This is a drawing of what the person saw, which is a really good drawing, actually, even though it is old. They were pretty good at drawing it. It's another depiction of it in the clouds or something there. But I wanted to get to some of the photographs. I think it's this one. I think it's this file that has the photographs. UFO contact. This is about different organizations that were putting together things about meeting our space brothers and sitting out together to see them. These are photographs that were taken during those conventions and gatherings to watch for the UFOs. That's all about Adamski. And again, these are articles that were put out in the public. These are not like government articles. That's an interesting drawing. I hadn't noticed that before. Very interesting. And again, these are all directed to the director of the FBI, which was Hoover. And in several of these, you're going to see where the response was that the FBI does not investigate UFOs. That is not their job. It's not in their job description to do that. And I really would love to see information being disclosed from the CIA because they are the ones that did look into this. So these are multiple letters. Okay, let me go back and see if I can find the one that I actually looked at that had the photographs in it. So you can just stare at my mug for a minute while I scroll through here and see if I can find the one that had the pictures real quick. I should have this prepared a little better. I apologize. Okay. So this is 161 files, 16 pages. Because when you go to page 17, it just says that. And to go to arrow, which I have arrow pulled up right here. And right now, there's not like a whole lot of information being released, but Eric Burleson, Tim Burchett, Anna Paulina, Luna, all three said that the stuff that they saw in the skiffs will be in batch 2. This is just to show people that ever since the 40s, there have been reports that were taken seriously and documented within different alphabet agencies of unknown aerial craft. And I might mention that UAP is not just for things that fly in the sky. According to the Department of War, they are classified under anything in the sky or in the air, in the sea, from space, or even trans-dimensional, which means, interdimensional. So this is an analysis of an aluminum specimen they have, probably from a craft. Correlations of satellite flaring with UAP observations. National Archives of UAPs. Let's see what that looks like. Records related to UFOs and UAPs at the National Archives. Okay, here's some photographs. Here's some moving images and sounds. Let's check some of this out. What have we got here? These are from 1960 to 1991. Nice. Just hanging out on its side. And that's exactly how I saw that triangled one that was like this beautiful neon blue outer light all the way around the rim of it. It was definitely triangle shaped. But it came in like an airplane would with, out flat. And when it stopped in front of me about 50 yards ahead, it turned up on its end and just hovered like 5 feet off the ground on its end. Like I was in a vehicle driving. And I obviously came to a complete stop and was just watching it in amazement. But it was setting up on its end just like that. That's pretty freaking cool. This was from June 4th, 1964. Interesting. All right, that's a good one. What else do we have? Oh, another picture of it. Okay, this is pretty cool. Pretty cool. I'm going to grab a screenshot of this while we're here because that's pretty freaking awesome. All right, what else do we have? There's another one. It's a little further off in the distance there. Nice. Hovering down quite low to the ground there. Definitely below some of these trees. It doesn't look too far away from them. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 5. Okay, that picture's sideways, but oh no, it's not. It's just up on its side again. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. I like it a lot. A lot, I tell you. I like it a lot. Oh, there it is, hovering above this cool old truck. All right, this is awesome. What else do we have? What are these? National Archives identifier. What we got going on there? I wonder if I can zoom in on this. Oh yeah, let's see what this is. Okay, looks like several negatives of the same picture there. All right, what else do we have? Records of headquarters of United States Air Force Air Staff. All right. Ohio Film. Okinawa. Project Blue Book. Oh, I like it. What we got here? Is that implants? Is this photographs of implants that they removed? Dude, this is pictures of fucking implants. Oh my God. From Blue Book. That's incredible. Okay, so see, it's not a nothing burger. We got some shit here, y'all. This makes me so excited. Physically fabricated UFO photo of suspended model during a scientific study of UFOs. Oh, it's a picture of a fake one. Optically fabricated UFO. Must have been for some kind of study they were doing. 53 photos during a scientific study of UFOs. The moon is at the right. All right, let's look at these. Oh, that's a UFO right there. DoD Still Media Depository, the second of the two Case 53 photographs during a scientific study of UFOs. The moon is at the right. Huh. Okay. So see, evidence that they did know of their existence for years, which we knew that they did, but it's still good to have this validation. I don't know about y'all, but I'm stoked about finally having the validation. After all the years of people trying to tell me that I'm crazy and UFOs don't exist and they're not coming here to our planet, they're not taking people, and the scientists like that dumbass Neil deGrasse Tyson, who's like, well, if aliens are coming here, how come nobody's brought back an ashtray yet? I mean, fucking moron. Are you stupid? You're supposed to be one of the smartest scientists, but you think that aliens are going to have ashtrays on board to accommodate humans that smoke? And like, you got time to have a cigarette anyway if you're on board a UFO? Come on. Like, what a fucking stupid thing to say. I hate it when people try to be smart, but they say such ignorant stuff. That's a cool picture. Anyway, just a soapbox moment. Don't mind me. Usually much more chill than this, and you know that, but and this one's a touchy subject for me. Just touchy in the way that, like, I don't want to hear a bunch of nonsense. You know, I want people to talk that are intelligent, educated, open-minded, and can have like a real conversation on the subject. Not like bullshit. We don't want any more bullshit. I think it's the same kind of stuff I was just looking at. All right, let's see what else we have. Let's go back to Arrow. Okay, that was the National Archives. This is correlation of satellite flaring with UFO observation. I don't even know what flaring really means, to be honest. That's kind of a new word for me. Okay, sponsored a workshop on UAP narrative data infrastructures and analysis in partnership with Associated Universities, Inc. The workshop brought together 40 participants from government, academia, and independent research organizations and focused on the challenges and opportunities of working with UAP narrative reports and related data sources. Okay, well, that was way too wordy for me. Oh, I don't guess I was sharing that page with you. Sorry, I'll show it. My bad. But yeah, I honestly don't think we're going to get a whole lot from Arrow. And a lot of people feel that way, I think, All right, let's see what else we've got. Damn it. I think I just messed up my share screen. It's just me. Let me share. Let me share again. Okay. Let's see what this is. Dude, I still can't believe we actually saw photographs of implants. How cool is that? Oh, this is that same shit we just looked at. All right. Going back. What else? What else do we have? All domain anomaly resolution office UAP reporting trends. Trends, huh? Is trends what they mean by the waves that happen, like the wave of the 80s? Oh, no, it's just like different things, birds and rockets and whatnot, ruling out other stuff. Most of it's balloons, you think? See, I don't think people are reporting fucking balloons and saying it's a UFO. I don't think we're that ignorant, to be honest. I don't like Arrow, if you can tell from the disdain in my voice. I do not like Arrow. I don't trust them. I don't trust even that Lou Elizondo. From the minute he came out to the public, I know this name. I'm like, don't trust nothing he says because he's an operative. I don't care how much he wants to pretend like he's out here with us. He is another, what's that guy's name? That guy that came out and everybody was all excited about him and they thought he was going to really be something and then he turned out to be a damn mole for the government. I don't know. I'll think of his name later. It'll come to me. But he's totally known in the whole UFO field as somebody to not be trusted. His information should not be trusted. And Lou Elizondo, in my opinion, fits in the same category. He might be telling you some truth, but he's not telling you the whole truth. That's just my opinion on it. And like I said, I remember that name, so I think I know what I'm talking about there. National Archives, UAP records. Oh, we're just in a loop. Official UAP imagery. Did we see that before? I don't think so. What we got? Europe 2022. Oh, is this a video? Oh, it is a video. Let me make it bigger. Oh, is it not sharing? Oh, here. Now you can see. Watching it move around the screen like that reminds me of that old table tennis game that came out the same time Atari did. I don't remember what that was called either. What did we call that game other than table tennis? Was it Pong? Was it called Pong? I don't know. If you remember, put it in the comments. Educate me. Refresh my memory. Is this playing? Oh, gotta hit play again. But yeah, it reminds me of that. Remember the table tennis game? It had like the one little line over here on this end of the screen and the other little line, and you boop, 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 bop the little white ball around. That's what that reminds me of. Okay. That was pretty cool. What else we got? I lost my mouse. Do I go back? How do I do this? Yeah, I need to go back. The hell? I lost my stupid share screen again. Sorry, guys. I got my contacts in. My eyes are all dry. It's hard to see. So sorry. I truly am. All right. Well, what's happening? Oh, I see it now. It came out right field. Whoa, now it's flying back into left field. Does it know it's being tracked? It's like it knows. Oh, well, I mean, obviously they do know. Oh my God, I'm not sharing it with you. Shit. All right, let's try again. Sorry. I mean, obviously the UFOs, the occupants, are intelligent enough to know that they're being tracked. It's just pretty cool to see it on the screen, right? That it's zipping around and zigging and zagging. And what is the fucking flash about? Is something shooting at it or something? What is going on? What is the flash of light? Hmm. Okay, that's just wild. All right, what else we got? Lost my mouse again. I know when I click this, it's going to not share again. All right, here it goes. It was there this time. Let's see what this one is. There he is, right there. See, right there, right there, right there, right there. Which I know, I mean, these are just a point of light, but still, it's pretty freaking cool to see that they have these things, right? And they've always had them, and they can't say what they are. This is Europe 2022. All of these are from Europe 2022. Oh, here we go. 2024 Europe. Let's see if this is, yeah, this is a video. Look at that little sucker out there moving around. Is that the flare thing they're talking about? Is this some kind of an equipment? If you guys know, put that in the comments for me, because I seriously don't understand this FLIR or flare thing. Ugh, I don't like all that light flashing business. This is kind of a longer video. This is, how long is that? This is 10 minutes long. We're not going to watch this whole thing. Let's see what else we got. This is also from 2024. So these are new. 30 seconds. All right, cool beans. Oh, and didn't we have, wasn't there something somewhere that we just saw that was something about sounds? This one they say is birds, so we don't need to watch it. Okay, let me go back. Where the fuck was that? Here it is. Moving images and sounds. Let's see what this is. This is NASA. Let's see what NASA has. Walter Cronkite and Gordon Cooper on UFOs. What? This might be nothing, but we'll look. Not available online due to copyright. Why is it even listed then? Oh my God. See, some of this is going to be like pulling teeth to get information. Featured digitalized videos. All right, let's see what this is. This is a W. Glenn Dennis interview. I remember seeing this old guy on something once upon a time. First-hand witness to the events at Roswell Army Air Force Hospital concerning recovered alien bodies. And what's this other one? This film, written and produced by Captain James McAndrew, was produced to accompany the U.S. Air Force 1997 publication of the Roswell Report. Case closed. Okay. Well, let's take a peek, shall we? This is 41 minutes long, so we're not watching the whole thing. But does it have a volume?
Yeah.
What they've read and seen since, describing essentially what they remember.
Yeah.
It's just a nice part of the world, it really is. Yeah.
Everybody's so helpful.
Hang on now, let's see how our Tinker Toys are all put together here. Have we got any kind of an audio level?
Yeah, if you just want to give me a little bit of...
Glenn, would you just say a couple things? Okay, first of all, the phone was ringing, right?
Okay, the way I became involved in this was started out in the early afternoon, around probably 1:30 in the afternoon, and I received a telephone call from the mortuary officer out at the Walker Air Force Base, Army Airfield Base, and he was inquiring about what would be the smallest possible casket that we could get that would be hermetically sealed. And at that time, I know that we had used like the 4 feet and caskets. We had used those before, but I thought they also made them in a 3/6. So, he wanted to know if we had any in stock, and I said no. But if I can make a call to Amarillo, I can have them in, by 7 o'clock the next morning on a truck. So he said, I'll get back to you. And that was the first contact that I had with the base.
And then what?
Then he called back, probably 45 minutes or so later. And he said, I need to ask you some more questions. He said, in case something like this should happen, he said, we need to know what the preparation, what your preparations are for the bodies that had been laying out in the elements, And he said, we need to know also what if your treatments of the bodies are the remains, what could you do to them, and if your treatments, would it change any of the chemical breakdown of the tissues, the blood, would it make a difference? And I said, I thought probably it would. And I said, of course, he knew exactly how we would treat those bodies because we have an outline from them and what we really have to do. I think he already at that point knew exactly what we would have to do.
Did he disclose to you what he had?
No, I told him. I said, if you have a problem, if you want, if you have something you don't really know what to do about it, let me come out, and I'll, try to help you do whatever you want to do.
And he said.
And he said.
Okay.
And he said no. He said.
Let's just back up just a minute there. Let's start again with you were saying you told him that you can come out and take care of what he had, right?
Yeah.
Why don't you pick it up from that point again?
So anyway, he said, well, we don't really have anything. He said, we're sitting here thinking in case we should get involved in something like this, what would be our preparation? Should we do? Then I went through. I said, do you really want to know how we would do it? Well, yes, we would like to know. So that's when I explained to him that we would have the vats that we would fill up with formaldehyde solution with water, and we put the bodies in them, let them stay there for 24 hours, and then take them out. And then we would pack the bodies in, would be a sawdust and really a lime, what we would pack them in, then wrap them in the plastic. That's bodies that were badly decomposed. If there was tissue, deep tissue, we would have to do it hypodermically with needles to get to the deep tissue. Then we would have to aspirate the cavities if the cavities hadn't already ruptured, and then put some cavity fluid in those. So that's, kind of normal procedure.
Now, at one point, you finally offered to take care of it for them.
Well, I offered 2-3 times, yeah.
Can you review that conversation at that point?
You mean when I offered to take care of them?
Yeah.
He said, well, we don't really, right at this time, we don't really need your assistant. But he said, in case something like this should happen, then he said we would be prepared and we would know what to do. Then we got back onto the subject of maybe not damaging any of the chemicals, compounds or anything with the bodies, or tissues, whatever, because and they wanted, how would you pick bodies up like that, and what would you do not to contaminate any of it?
Didn't this begin to seem a little strange to you at that point?
Well, I thought maybe what happened, they might have had a VIP or some officer and something that happened. They didn't want wanted to keep it quiet, and they probably wanted to do it themselves, not be involved with the civilian businesses or anything.
So, after these conversations, you were curious, and you went on out to the base, as I understand it. Can you review that?
Well, I didn't go out to the base. Yeah, I was curious, but I didn't go out to the base.
Listen to how this man is breathing and really gripping his arms. He's nervous. God love him. He's really nervous about telling this. This was in 1990. And I mean, with our scientists that are missing and everything in our wake right now, no wonder he was nervous.
And probably a couple hours later, then I'd got an emergency call. There was an airman that was injured in an accident. And I took the airman to the base. He rode in the ambulance with me, and I took him out to the emergency room. And that's the way I became really involved out the base. I didn't go out just because I was curious.
Give me the sequence from the time you picked up the airman, and just describe to me.
Well, when I got the call, I left the funeral home, and the ambulance went to the scene of the accident, picked the airman up. I did not place him on a stretcher because he had a head injury in the nose. I think his nose was fractured. So I did some minor first aid, and then he sat in the front seat with me all the way to the base. When we got to the base, then he walked into the emergency room. I didn't have to take him in. They didn't bring out a gurney or anything. He just walked in on his own. Then I never did see him after that. Then I had this friend that I wanted to talk to and see. This is a lieutenant nurse that I knew quite well, that had only been there only been commissioned and been out to sign. This was her first assignment out to the air base. And I wanted to talk to her, and so I was going down the hall, and first thing, the lieutenant that I wanted to see was coming out of one room, going across the hall to the other. And she noticed it was me. She said, "How did you get in here, and what are you doing in here?" And she said, "You better get out in a hurry." She said, "You're going to get in a lot of trouble." She said, "Would you please leave and get out of here in a hurry?" And then I turned around, and she went on into the other room. Then in about the time I turned around, there was another officer said, "Hey, wait a minute." And I said, "Looks like you had a crash." He said, "I see there's some, in the ambulances out there, I see a lot of wreckage." I said, "Where was the crash?" And he said, "There wasn't any crash." And he said, "Just wait a minute." And then he said, "Wait a minute." And I, stood there for a minute. And he turned around, and evidently he must have waited for somebody else to come out, because there was another officer coming out. He said, "This man says there was a crash out at the base." He said he wanted to know he was inquiring about our crash. And this was when I encountered, he was a red-headed officer, and very nasty, very rough. He said, "You did not see any crash. There was not any crash." And he said, "You get the hell out of here, and you didn't see anything, and you don't talk to anybody." He said, "You're going to get in a hell of a lot of trouble." And I said, "Look, I'm a civilian, there ain't a damn thing you can do to me about it." He said, "No, but somebody might be picking your bones out of the sand." That's when he made the remark there.
Shit.
Then there was a black sergeant that was standing beside him.
Okay, well, we're going to skip past all the threats part, because we know how that works. Let's get to some meat and bones of it here if we can.
What happened next? How you were unable to see her again, and how you learned the...
Well, yeah, we'd visited a while, and then I had to get back to the funeral home, go back to work, but then I never did see her after that. And I called out the next day to see how she was feeling, and they told me that she wasn't available. Then I wouldn't be available that day. I called the next day, and they told me that she'd been transferred. And it was rather odd, because she'd only been at the base less than 3 months. That was her on commission less than 3 months, and that was her first assignment. So it was rather odd that she would be transferred out, within 3 months. So
later on, you attempted to... I guess you got a letter.
Then about 2 weeks, probably 2 weeks, at least 2 weeks. Could have been a little longer, but I know it was at least 2 weeks. I got a letter addressed to me at Glendennis at the Ballard Funeral Home. With she didn't sign, it didn't have any returned address or anything on it, but inside of the letter there was just a note. She said, "I don't have time to write. I will write later. This is my APO number," and that was the extent of it. So then I wrote back to her and asked her more or less how she was feeling and why the sudden transfer, and then I hoped that she wasn't in any trouble. It was just a short note. I really didn't go into a lot of detail or anything. Then probably 3 weeks or probably a month after that, then I got the letter that I had mailed to her. It was returned. It was stamped return, and also it's on in red printing it said deceased. And that's the last time I ever heard anything about it. And then, probably then I went out to the base a few days later, and I was talking to one of the nurses, and I said, whatever happened to the lieutenant? And she said, well, the rumor is that we heard that she was killed with 5 other nurses in a training mission in a plane crash. And that was it.
No indication of where?
Well, it was in London, England. She said in the note that she sent me that she was in London, stationed in London. And that was it. That's the last time I ever heard.
Damn. This is awful.
You're talking about the hands. The hands.
Yeah.
Describe the hands.
The hands. Well, there was one hand. There was one hand that evidently wasn't attached to the arm, and she said that where she got sick and left the room was that this doctor had the long forceps and picked the hand up and turned it over, and that's when they noticed. Now there wasn't any thumb. None of the bodies had any thumbs or anything. They were just long, very fine, very delicate fingers, no fingernails. But right at the tip of each finger, it looked like there was a pad. And in this pad, it looked like it might have had very small they were like little suction cups, very minute suction cups. The doctors, that's the way he explained it. That was looking at it.
Let's see. Tapes right now? Okay.
We need to get the arm as well.
Okay, yes,
Which
the arm.
goes with that.
That kind of reminds me of a frog. You know how frogs can stick to the window and climb the window because they've got like these teeny little delicate suction cups.
Need to pull out the arm.
Really?
In the magazine we publish, and with the pads at the tips of the fingers.
Maybe you can get a copy of them.
I can send you a copy. I'd be happy to.
It's amazing.
It all fits together. That's the
And they
thing.
would
It
not
just
have
fits
known
together.
about.
Obviously, it wouldn't know about your information.
Yeah, well, see, I've never
Vice versa.
discussed this with anyone. My father was the only person I really ever discussed this. I didn't discuss it at the funeral home or anything else. I never discussed it with any of my family, period. I never have until I met Stan Freeman 2 years ago. That's the first time I ever discussed it.
Would you have an interest in some dubs of testimony that we get from other people here? I'd be happy to.
Well, I'd
send
love
it you.
to, yeah, but I'd love to. I'd like to have a tape of mine also, if you
Sure,
don't,
absolutely. Of course we can do that.
Maybe we can send you two, one for each hand.
my daughter said if, I want a tape of this and I want to keep it, and I want it in the family, but
We'll make you up.
yeah, I would love to, whatever, if you guys feel comfortable, I'd love to, have some tapes of whatever,
Absolutely.
We've got quite a few that we could probably run off. What you have?
I don't know why this is not letting me go back. Okay, just lost my share screen again. Okay, for some reason I ended up back on that instead of where we were at. That's kind of weird. Where did it go? Oh, interesting. Very strange. Okay, I found it again. Here we go. What else do we have? And that was in NASA's documents, guys. Interesting. All right, let's see what this is. Sound recordings. Here we go. Motion picture films. What the hell is that? Seriously? Man, we can't get nothing from them. That's stupid. All right, let's see if we can get some sounds. Oh, good God. Nothing. You can't click on it. Not yet available online. Okay. So we're not going to get anywhere with any of that right now. But there's quite a bit here to look at in all of the different stuff. And let's see what this is real quick.
An event, popularly known as the Roswell incident, has recently been the subject of intense interest by both the media and a curious general public. In recent years, numerous speculative books, magazine articles, television programs, a made-for-TV movie, 2 UFO museums, fraudulent documents, and even an alien autopsy film have emerged to exploit the media fascination with the Roswell incident. The story has even gained international attention. Despite the vested interest and questionable credibility of all sources involved in generating the media hype, the U.S. Air Force is routinely accused of concealing a deep, dark secret from the American people.
Oh, is this their cover story?
In early 1994, New Mexico Congressman Stephen Schiff requested the General Accounting Office initiate a records review. The purpose of this review was to determine if the U.S. Air Force or any other U.S. government agency possessed information on an alleged crash near Roswell, New Mexico in July 1947 of an extraterrestrial vehicle and its alien crew. In response to the GAO probe, the Secretary of the Air Force directed a comprehensive search for records. The objective of this search was to tell the Congress and the American people what the Air Force knew about the 1947 Roswell claims. If the information was still classified, it was to be declassified. If active or former Air Force officials had signed non-disclosure agreements, they were to be released from these agreements. The resulting 800-page report was completed in July 1994. The report concluded that the predecessor to the U.S. Air Force, the U.S. Army Air Forces, did recover material near Roswell in July 1947. What was recovered was not the remains of an extraterrestrial spacecraft and its alien crew, but debris from a then classified Army Air Forces research project, codenamed.
Well, we already know that that's a bunch of malarkey. So I'm not even going to finish watching this because we're not going to watch their propaganda. All right, let's see what this here reading room is about. Let's see if there's anything here. Those are PDFs. I don't want to, if I click on them, they're going to download to my computer. So let's see what we got. It says Arrow records pertaining to Five Eye Caucus Working Group. Well, that's something interesting to look at another date. All right, what else do we have here? NASA Apollo 17 crew debriefing for science in 1973. And I'll probably have to download that to look at it. I'm just skimming over it to see if there's anything here we need to look at closer. Okay, that's just talking about gamma ray background. Sunlight reflecting off of stuff. So not much of nothing here. Okay. And I just lost my screen share again, of course. But anyway, that's pretty much all I'm going to share with it. I think we've spent enough time on it for now. But I just wanted to show you that, this is not like a totally nothing burger. Although, it's not the bombshell damning evidence that we're looking for necessarily. I'm going to try to find those photos that I was looking at earlier to show you again, because I had some really cool pictures somewhere in all that stuff of UFOs. Really good, vivid pictures of UFOs. So I will find that later and share in another video. And until next time, thanks for watching.